an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gooner Gimli, and tonight I'll be joined by Wheels on Fire. Let's go back to the future with Danny the GFP.
Honk honk.
So how are you this week?
I nearly didn't make it tonight.
I know.
What, you don't know. Last night I was trying to give birth to what felt like 6 big lumps of coal. I needed surgery when I was done.
You've already brought it down to that level, not even 20 seconds in yet.
Painkillers, best stay away.
Just swallowed in the background. Christ.
I'm tickety boo. We're on a run of magnificent wins, a streak that will continue to be won.
I'll leave that there then. Next up, podcast regular and IT case layer. It's Raj Patel. Hello, Raj.
Hello, my little Merthyr Munchkin. How are you?
I'm all right. Did you manage to get that mouthful down?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Every time he's got a new one, Merthyr Munchkin. That's quality.
It took me 4 hours to think of that one today. So I only another 51 weeks left. But I'm good, thank you very much. I've just got back from being away. Turkey, by the way, Danny.
Oh, you should have said.
And I'm eating a pizza at the same time, so I might not talk for the first 20 minutes.
Okay, that's not a problem. You were in Turkey for the Scum game, so I don't think you're going to be taking part much in that one, are you?
I might interject every now and again, especially if Gav goes off on one.
Oh, that's certainly good to hear. Right, we'll move on. Next up, he's the only gay in the village. It's Jason Davis.
All right.
All right, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad, apart from living in your country.
Well, they do call you the Merthyr Tidbil Tiddler.
Oh, why would that be?
Because you're a twat.
Okay. Well, you can't really argue stupid, so we'll move on to Gav then. And finally, you may remember this man as a regular on last season's show. It's Gav from She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. You all right, Gav?
I'm all right, you Newport nonce. How's it going?
Thank you very much. You're off. That's almost as if that had been rehearsed.
No, not at all. He's on the button. Old gold Gav.
I feel very unloved this week.
He was going to go with Cardiff Cum Dodger, but we don't dodge it.
No,
Jason, he's reserved that one for you.
He just says and there it is. Like a decorator's radio.
Don't do it to the host, because the next week that you're on, I'm going to destroy you.
Hey, fine. You bring it on, mate. I
think we found the level for this pod already.
Fantastic. Right then, we'll start as ever by going straight over to Danny with all the Arsenal scores from across the board.
Right, the ladies haven't played since the 20th of September. The next game is against the Wall Pushers from up north. That's 5th of October. 1st of October, which was yesterday, the under 19s, which is a separate group, played Galatasaray. We played them at home. We were 5-0 up, and they scored one in the 90th minute, meaning 5-1 in total. Zelalem, come on. There you go. Scored a fantastic goal, cutting from the left-hand side, went past about 3 defenders, and then shot it into the back of the net. Lovely, lovely goal. Hines scored, Willock, Iwobi, and super Dan Crowley scored a penalty in the 70th minute. 27th of September, Fulham under-18s 2, Arsenal under-18s 3, Caelan Hines got 2. I mean, this was only, nearly best part of a week ago, and the Arsenal.com site is so shit they haven't even got a preview or a review of the game, let alone the goal scores. So I know Caelan Hines got 2 goals. That's all I know. We're top still with a game in hand, I think, and we're on top on goal difference. And I'm not sure if we said about the under-21s. The last game was on the 21st of October, beat Newcastle United, lost to Newcastle United 2-1. Ormond Otwell scored a goal in the 87th minute, and we're 3rd in that league. Right, now, Jason, calm yourself. It's Pirates time.
Carpenter out.
This past Sunday, the Pirates welcomed Division 1 title chasing Kings Tamerton CA.
He's made that sound better than it is.
Yeah, to Skull and Bones Park. They've got a name for their ground, Skull and Bones, eh? Oh, tidy. In the first round of the Ken Rickard Sunday League Cup. Personally, if you haven't been to see that, you ain't fucking lived. Going into the game, the boys knew it would be a big task coming up against such a superior side, and so it proved.
Should have called it the Theatre of Disasters.
Oi. The away side took an early 2-goal lead before the quarter-hour mark and added 3 more strikes before half-time. So technically that means they won the first half 5-0.
Claire, could you just repeat that?
The away side took an early 2-goal lead before the quarter-hour mark and added 3 further strikes before half-time.
Added 3 further strikes, eh?
Yeah, so that
It's
means
not good, is it?
They lost the first half 5-0 against
Can't
the.
you just give us the overall result
No.
so we can have a laugh?
We sponsor
You
these.
ain't got as many fingers to count the skulls.
Socks off.
However, the Pirates came out fighting after the break. It was cutlasses and swords at half-mast.
Sorry, stop. The Pirates came out fighting.
Oh, dear.
It's like reading Harry Potter.
A stunning 25-yard lob into the top corner from Paul Miller, who is one of their best players, got a richly deserved consolation goal, with debutant Callum Knight, who's only 18, coming on to make his debut, going close on 3 occasions, striking both posts and the bar. The game finished as a 3-1 loss, but the impressive debut of Callum Knight and Man of the Match award for rookie goalkeeper Rhys Jones, who sounds like one of your own, Gim and Jace, the Pirates kept their spirits up.
3-1 loss, 7-1.
Yeah, but the second half, they lost 2-1, which is almost a draw against a Division 1 team.
I was talking on WhatsApp and I said, you got humped.
Hey, shush.
And he tried telling me, no, we didn't get humped.
I was there.
We lost 7-1.
Didn't you see it on Match of the Day?
Match of the day.
It was, shush. Oi, this is our mate we're talking about. You behave yourself.
It was like autopsy of the day.
Right. Someone gag him again. This Sunday is a home game in Division 3 against 5th placed Revelstoke Rangers. Results will be posted on at Barbie Pirates FC. That's their Twitter account after the game, and I think it's thebarbicanpirates.com or barbicanpirates.fc.com.
I've got the end of that email underneath. He says, but don't hold your hopes for a win.
No, he didn't say that at all. It says, come on, ye Pirates. Arr. That's what it says. Oh, dear. You are horrible. No wonder he hates you both.
No, he doesn't hate us. It's just we're his biggest critics. But we've invested in that.
He hates me. I'm happy about it.
I feel sorry for poor Raj. How much money has he spunked into that club for a loss every week?
That's why he's only just had the 1 piece and normally he'd have had 3.
Yeah.
The thing is, right, if they fail to turn up, right...
It's only a 3-0.
Don't they forfeit 3-0?
Yeah.
They'd be better off not turning up. And just meeting down the pub for a beer instead. They'd be better off.
They were playing
Subs
that,
on a pint.
but there's 3 leagues in that, 3 divisions in that league, and this team they played were almost top of the first division, and they're in the 3rd division.
Oh,
So there you go.
I would have no problem in losing 10-0, okay?
Danny, that doesn't make it right though, does it?
Yeah.
It does
When
make it right.
When you're humped, you admit you get humped.
Carpenter in.
Bollocks.
Oi, we have to look up what would do if someone else has taken it, been horrible to Carpenter. You, Jason, maybe right then, boys, let's go and find them and kill them. There you go. That's what would happen. Right, let's move this on because old bloody Chris is going to be listening back to this, and he might be doing himself a damage with the wrong end of a toothbrush.
Yes. We'll kick off tonight's show then by talking about our 1-1 draw with the Scum up the road. To start us off, we'll go straight over to Gav for his thoughts on this game.
That laugh.
Oh dear. Go on, Gav, go for it. Go on.
They're shit, aren't they, Tottenham? Do you know what I mean? That's the first thing. I mean, Tottenham are shit. You know, on a normal day, you know, if we was set up how we was last night, we would have absolutely won them. That team deserved to lose 4-5-0 Tottenham. They're absolutely shit. I can't think of a worse Tottenham team that I've seen. But then it comes to the point, look, we just sort of failed to break them down and failed to beat them, really. We only sort of livened up once they'd scored. And you've got to really give a little bit of credit to them for the fact that they had a shit 10 men behind the ball game plan, boring as fuck shit, crap wankers that they are. But we didn't beat them. And that's the shame about it all, really, because it's just another game that was there for the taking, and you know, literally we've dropped 2 points against what's going to be a poor mid-table team.
That was my next question, and Raj, this is a nice level one for you. 70% of the possession to Arsenal overall. Is it the most one-sided North Derby we've failed to win in recent memory?
No, I told you I hadn't seen the game, so
Just make it up.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, it was definitely one-sided. I mean, I saw bits of it, to be honest, where I was.
He was in Turkey.
It was eminently Frustrating not to beat them, because as Gav's right, that they are a terrible team, absolutely horrendous team, and it's so frustrating that we dropped 2 points that day.
Yeah, and Danny, Ramsey and Arteta went off injured in the first half. What kind of effect did that have on the overall performance of the team?
Well, I do a little drawing on my notes. If anybody wants it, I can print them off and share them out. And I do like the entire lineup where they start off, and then I do little arrows of where they went off to. And I tell you what, it looks like, this infestation we've had of spiders. It looks like I've killed 4 of them over my match layout of the thing, because I've got every single player going in every single direction, because it's just mental. Flamini's error led to the first goal. Led to their goal, which I know a lot of people have been giving Szczesny a load of grief over that, but Szczesny gave it to Mertesacker gave it to Flamini at short notice, and then Flamini shit his pants, fell over, and then that knob ran at goal and scored. But just some of the things from that game, I'm looking at my notes. First thing I've put, Danny Rose, what a cock. That's the first note I've put. And then I've put 9 minutes, Wilshere, edge of the box. If he'd have taken that shot first time, he'd have scored. And then, like Gav has said, this would have been a rout. We should have beaten them about 5 or 6-0. It's very rare that I remember a Spurs team being that shit. Danny Rose has got such a big fat arse, you could put 3 pints on it and he could still run the length of the pitch without him falling off. It's just absolutely amazing. It's just... There's at one point I've put here, looked like a 2-1-6-1 at times, the formation we were playing, because they were that defensive and they were that shit. You look at the number of fouls, 16 fouls to 7 they did. Corners, we had 15, they had 5. And then overall possession, we had 69%, they had 31%. They're just dog shit. And if you imagine you had a picture of Pochettino and of AVB, pretty boys, aren't they? Now I'm beginning to worry that for some unknown reason Daniel Levy likes to employ the pretty boys with the pretty hair, because they got rid of Harry a bit quick, didn't he? So whoever is the next pretty boy manager out there, young, nice hair, chiselled looks, because they'll be the next Spurs manager when this one gets fired at the end of the season. That's it. So there you go. But yeah, to answer your question, those 2 going off messed our team up unbelievably. Flamini wasn't ready when he come on, because you don't warm up, do you? Just on the off chance that Arteta's going to get injured. So him coming on like that, and then who was the other player that went off? Arteta. And
the whole of our central midfield went off.
Yeah, Ramsey went off, and who come on for Ramsey? I did put it here, but I can't. Oh, Santi. Didn't Santi come on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 44 minutes. Aaron went off, hamstring. I think we will play better now, I've put here. And I think we did play better. And I think if we'd have started the game with Santi on the left and not bothered playing Wilshere there, and maybe put Wilshere in the middle rather than Arteta. If we'd have gone out and played, rather than playing a 4-1-4-1, if we'd have gone 4-5-1 with Ramsey and Wilshere in the middle, Santi out wide left, the Ox out wide right, and the Ozil behind Welbeck, I reckon we could have been looking at 5 or 6 easily.
Thing is, I think it was easy to say. Kabul had pretty much the game of his life at central defence.
Gap-toothed twat.
I know. Do you know
what I mean?
Though?
He was good though. Yeah.
He had a pretty solid game. I've just been thrown off course by a llama that looks like Olivier Giroud. Thanks, Raj.
He doesn't he?
But, Jason, the question I want to ask you is, did it concern you that we kept getting caught on the counter?
No. It's always going to happen. They had no ambition other than to counter-attack. By the way, Danny, Szczesny passed it to Chambers. The 19-year-old kid who panicked. Talk more about Szczesny later. But
so then Chambers gave it to Per, and then Per gave it to Flamini.
No. Chambers got it to Flamini. Flamini didn't get a shout. It's still it's a mistake from the whole of the back 4, but
it was a group mistake.
Yeah. You can blame who you want there, but that was the only way they were going to score. Even on the counter attack, I know they had a couple of opportunities, but they were wasting them. They had no ambition. Adebayor was shit. It was so nice to see him play so badly. I really enjoyed that. But we were throwing everything at them, and it was just a shame. With the injuries cost us, we couldn't break them down. It was a very frustrating game, wasn't it? It was
it wasn't clinical chances though, Jason.
No,
Do you know what I mean? It weren't like we was hitting the bar and hitting the post, or they was going wide. We was
I
get
agree
into
with
the
you.
edge of their box and playing fucking tippy-toe.
Yeah, but the problem is we're doing the same thing time and time again, aren't we? We don't stretch them with a shot from distance and make them think about it. They were just waiting for us to come to them. They weren't even coming out and rushing us down and closing us down that much.
No.
It was really bitty, frustrating. It was a horrible game. We as dog shit as they are, okay, we were just as poor, to be honest, because we didn't show any imagination. And it's frustrating because we're a better team than that.
Why were we so poor then? And you guys saw the game. I mean, tell me.
The injuries cost us a bit. Arteta disrupted us. Ramsey took the wind out of our sails. But, the guys we have, it was the same thing time and time again.
We had width, but we was just sort of getting the ball with our backs to goal all the time, and then we'd sort of get up to the edge of their box and run out of ideas, and no one was going past the defender, no one was pulling players out. And...
Gav, sorry to interrupt you. What do you think on this? Whenever I see us at the moment, we want ball into feet too much. Nobody's making the run. Nobody's, trying to get in behind. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think we're the whole team and the way this season's going is pretty much schizophrenic at the moment. I mean, if you class how we played against Tottenham to how we played against Galatasaray, it was like watching two different teams.
Yeah.
One had width, pace, power, and the other was just sort of, just wanted to see how many times we could pass it across the face of the goal. So, I mean, obviously Tottenham defended a hell of a lot better than Galatasaray could bloody dream of defending. But it's just hard to put your finger on it at the moment. And like I say, I mean, I think I've probably said this on some form or another at the beginning of the season. The hardest job that Wenger's got this season is getting the correct lineup against the correct opposition. And it's sort of 1 week he gets it right, the next week he doesn't get it right. And I can't understand why Alexis didn't start against Tottenham. I mean, I can't understand. I mean, I'd start him every game. Do you know what I mean? He would start at the left side of the attacking midfield every single game. So, like I say, I mean, I don't think. I think it's still too early in the season. It's too early for this squad to sort of decide what's best for it. It's really confusing. I mean, if it's confusing us, I mean, it's obviously confusing Wenger on what literally is the best lineup in quite a lot of positions. I mean, if you go back to the Invincible side or the 98 side or the 91 side or the 89 side, you generally knew what our best 11 is.
Yeah.
And, apart from our defence, really, because we've only got 5 defenders, you can't really decide who's what is our best combination. And like I said, that's the conundrum at the moment. But like I say, give me £8 million a year, I'll solve that for you.
Danny, Gav touched there on Sanchez not starting the game. Given his influence so far this season, was that a surprise for you?
Definitely was. I mean, I think last night it showed that with Galatasaray, we're going to go into this later, but Galatasaray aimed at him and kicked him because they always go for your best, most creative player. And I am so over the moon that, when you first sign a player like Ozil, he was really, really up for it for the first 4 or 5 games, then it started to wane off. Sanchez has the enthusiasm and the go and everything about him. It's just go, go, go. Want to score goals, he'll run his arse off. And with having him on the left side and having the Ox, who also does exactly the same thing. You never see the Ox moping around with his hands down by his side. Things aren't going well. It's attack, go, pass, run, do everything. Sanchez is doing the same thing. And I think with those two doing that, those two together are bringing the team up to the level that they all need to be at. Like, no matter what the score is, they're both going to keep on running. And I think, like Gav said, he should have started on the left. He should start on the left every single game this season because he has just got the ability to. I mean, I know Welbeck scored a hat-trick, which we'll talk about later, but I still think Sanchez was my man of the match because he was just so influential in everything we did. It's almost like the days of older players with like Henry and Bergkamp and people like that. Not quite to their level, but the way they were involved in every single part of every single good thing we do. Sanchez is just absolutely fantastic and brilliant. It's a shame that Ozil has got the ability, maybe more ability than Sanchez, but Ozil isn't doing it. So maybe a bit of Sanchez will rub off on Ozil.
It would be interesting to see some stats about. I know you won't get them for Tottenham because he didn't start, about how much distance he covers in a game, because he seems to just be like Jack was, like absolutely everywhere.
Everywhere.
If he loses the ball, he'll track back and he'll get the ball back. Just so much tenacity. Do you know, Jace, do you think he really made the difference when he came on?
Yeah, we were tired. You know, we'd been disrupted. He's a quality player, isn't he? You know, he's got such intent about him every time. You know, he's an exuberant character by the looks of things. He's got ambition on the pitch, and everything about him oozes intent. He's a fabulous player. You know, it's working out how to get the best out of him with the other players, obviously at the moment. But the guy he did change things, but you know, he may have been brought on sooner if we hadn't had 2 early injuries. We just don't know, you know.
And the difference maker on the day was Oxlade-Chamberlain, who scored a fantastic goal. Gav, the question I want to ask you, Danny Welbeck, super dummy?
Bentner-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was.
Complete Bentner-esque. Yeah, no, he made the space by completely missing the ball, but do you know what I mean? He was there in the right space, and what was nice about that goal was the fact that we had 2 players in the 6-yard box who both wanted to get on the end of it, and that's what we need more of.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And another talking point for that game will be the goal line technology. I know all of you boys are on Twitter. Have any of you seen the photo going about where the actual ball looked like it was over the line? Can anyone elaborate a little bit more on that and say, Danny?
I have seen it, and the first one I saw was a real zoomed-in version, and I think it was so blurry and so pixelated it could have easily been photoshopped, but then someone else has done another version from much further out in better, not HD quality, but better quality. And if you look at the 2 pictures, one of them, his arm is quite far away from the ball in the zoomed in version, and in the version where you're further out, his arm is much closer to the ball. Now, people say it's an optical illusion. It cannot be an optical illusion if the ball is behind the line. Now, it obviously wasn't behind the line, but I did remember at the time when they showed the replay, it come up with a replay and it went no goal straight away. But all it showed was as it first went towards the goal, and then I think it went further back in again, and that's when he hooked it out.
It was the first save, and then it trickled on.
Yeah.
And then he had to palm it away.
Yeah, because they didn't show
off the line. Yeah.
They didn't show the second part, did they?
No.
I think that's the confusion, isn't it? I mean, I don't think the ball went. I mean, the ball clearly, obviously, didn't go in the net. But like I say, the confusion is when the video replay of the incident come out, they showed the ball in the first phase, not the ball in the second phase, where it was clearly a hell of a lot closer to the line than in the first phase, and that's what's pissing people off about it, really, and that's why there was this little bit of confusion, really.
Yeah, if you remember correctly, I was doing the Arsenal, our radio show on Sunday night after the actual game when we got it set up, and a lot of people said that the same thing happened in the World Cup. They did say the teams, I can't remember. You remember, Danny? Because I think you were in part of that at the time.
I did watch every single game of the World Cup, but I can't remember what that was because I had World Cup.
Jonathan Pierce, because people on there were saying
he was going mental. He was going mental about it. I can't remember the game. Now, me and Chris were talking about this the other night, and I can't remember what it was, but I think the goal line technology tends to just go, for the first time it triggers the sensors on it, that's the one it does. And if there's another one really quick after, for some reason it doesn't seem to be showing it. I mean, they know more than we do, and I'm sure, like Gav said, it wasn't a goal, but it just looks like it was a goal. I'd like someone to explain how it's an optical illusion when you can see it in 2D in front of you that it's clearly over the line. Whether it's some jiggery-pokery or some fuckery going on, I don't know, but it's definitely wonky.
And we'll carry on with the officials of the game. Jason, to you next. Did the referee lose control of the game, giving out 8 yellow cards? I know, was it Mason did a particularly bad challenge on Ozil that was just below the knee that could have easily seen him see red?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I thought he set his stall out in the wrong way. You know, we picked up 2 quick bookings for literally next to nothing. Mason should have gone. No ifs or buts. It was a poor challenge. But he was just so inconsistent, wasn't he? You know, I got to be honest. I'd rather finish the game with both teams having 8 men and have some consistency in the way he's dishing out the cards, etc., then that show of shit that he gave us on Saturday.
I mean, some could even say that Lamella deserved to be
the
took as well for a
consistent
few of
fouling.
his.
Well, exactly. How come was it Ox got carded and Lamella didn't pick up another 4 cards, so to speak?
Chambers picked up a really petty one, didn't he?
Yeah,
For shirt pulling.
That's the one. Sorry, and Lamella was constantly at it. He was doing that typical Argentinian thing of really getting at people and being, petty,
just being
horrible
a
fouls.
horrible little twat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being funny. He's been brought up that way. That's how they play down there. And then he's learnt how to exaggerate it at Spurs.
Not wrong.
Yeah.
So we'll have final thoughts on this then, gentlemen. What did you make of the game? Do we look at this as 2 points drop then against a very poor Tottenham team?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We'll draw a line under that then, and we'll carry on with a theme of football by talking about yesterday's 4-1 victory over Galatasaray at the Emirates. Danny, I'd like to go to you first.
Well, I'm just looking back through the one of my favourite sites, 11v11.com, trying to find out the last player to score a hat-trick. I knew it was Bentner, but I didn't know it was in 2009-10. We beat Porto 5-0, and I'm now all the way back to season 2004-2005, and we still haven't found the last hat-trick goal scorer. I think last night it was just showed if you play the right players in the right positions how lethal we are up front. Like we said earlier, we need to play Sanchez on the left, we need to play the Ox on the right, we need to play Ozil in the Bergkamp hole, and I think playing Welbeck up front. I know I was harsh on Welbeck, that's only because it was from Man United, and I clearly remember saying at the time, if we'd have bought him from any other team, I'd have been over the moon about the fact that we have bought another young England international player and with a great future, and he's going to score goals. He's never scored a hat-trick before, I don't think, and it's
his first career hat-trick.
And I think he could have got 4 or 5 last night, because them playing 3 at the back and deciding not to change it until half-time was just an absolute disaster on their behalf. I did my little I was actually going to name that game Battle of the Airlines, because we're sponsored by Emirates Airlines and they were sponsored by I think it was Turkish Airlines. And so I thought that was, but no one seems to care about Battle of the Airlines because no one probably noticed other than me. But I think it's just really nice. The only thing I was slightly concerned about, if that would have been a better team, playing Ozil and Santi in the middle isn't really good, because then that leaves Flamini completely exposed. I know it's his job to protect the back 4, but also he needs a bit of protection in central midfield himself. But every time Ozil, Santi or Sanchez went anywhere near the ball, they were just getting kicked up in the air. And I mean, you're probably going to come on to that 2-footed off the floor tackle that should have been a straight red, but that was an absolute disgrace. And I'm just looking that some of my notes in the 11th minute, I've put down that Galatasaray were attacking down our right hand side quite a lot, so I think they maybe saw Callum Chambers straight away on paper as being our weak link, but he turned out not to be our weak link. Sometimes when he was tracking with the ball back into like the Flamini position, and then I remember him losing the ball in a tackle, getting up, running after the bloke, and then tackling him, getting the ball off him, and then giving it off to somebody else. Now that is the kind of thing we need from a defensive midfielder, and he managed to. I think it's his first game ever where he started and didn't end up with a yellow card. He didn't get booked, did he?
I don't think so.
I should be looking at that, shouldn't I? Here we go. It's going to go and have a look at it. And no, well done, Callum Chambers. You did not get a yellow card. In fact, only the player that we had with a yellow card was Flamini, and then they only had 2 yellow cards in a shitty bunch of fouling, dirty bastards
Italian
like that.
Though, Danny.
Oh, they're used to it though, aren't they? The Italians, it's just knobs. I'm looking at, and I've been so sad that in the 21st minute when we scored our goal, it was Gibbs with a left foot pass to Sanchez with a left foot pass to Welbeck with a right foot shot, which I think was absolutely brilliant. The way that he calmly took it and put it up past the goalie was just really nice to see. And then the way the Ox at one point, I rewound this. I know I'm sad. I rewound it, and in the 26th minute, down the right hand side of the pitch, the Ox took on 3 Galatasaray players, and he had 21 consecutive touches as he did it all. I mean, stuff like that is just shows what an absolute brilliant player the Ox is. And when Walcott comes back, he's going to to probably lose his position. But the Ox, if he was at any team other than any one of the top 3 or 4, he would be playing every single game, scoring 10, 15 goals a season, because he's all over the place. He was coming into central midfield, he was drifting up front into Welbeck's position when Welbeck was dropping back into midfield. And the Ox is just he's just going to be a fantastic player. I know his old man says that his best position is going to be in central midfield going forward, but he is just a delight to watch. And I was really happy with the whole team last night.
Very well said.
Thank you.
We'll go to Raj next then, who you were quite critical of Welbeck on the deadline day, and I'm not going to hang anyone because I've had a few myself because I ranted a bit on that day. But superb hat-trick, Raj. How do you think he's settling in?
I was more than critical. I'll put my hand up. I mean, if anyone who listens to this podcast goes back to that Transfer Day podcast, I think I might have embarrassed myself with the way I went on about how we spent 16, 17 million pounds on a striker, which I completely didn't rate. And since then, he's proved me wrong every time. And good luck to him. And I'm more than happy to say I was completely wrong. And last night showed me that he's probably the striker that we need. And forget about the poor opposition, but I mean, I've got a lot of faith in him now. So I got it completely wrong. That second goal he scored, I've seen him miss so many of those when he used to play for Man United, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't have a huge opinion of him. But he's changed my feelings towards him. I think he's a good striker. I think he'll score a few goals this season for us, and he's been played in the right position by Arsene Wenger. So he's not coming off on the right like he did for Man United. So good luck to him. I mean, I'll put my hand up. I thought we had a great game last night, and that's all I can say, really.
And Gav, over to you next. Now, we saw Sonogo score 4 goals at the Emirates Cup, and all of a sudden our fan base went into hysteria. Now, pretty much the same thing is happening with Welbeck and his performance last night, with people comparing him to Thierry Henry. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think he'd ever be as good as Le Frenchman?
No. He's not going to be, is he? He's like I say. I mean, Thierry Henry is like a once in a lifetime player.
I said that this afternoon on my Twitter.
Complete once in a lifetime player. I mean, I sat there yesterday. I watched online a documentary about Thierry Henry yesterday afternoon, and by the end of it, I was thinking, shit, he was that good. Do you know what I mean? His touch, his pace, the assists, the goals. I mean, that goal against Man United where we had the free kick and it was just rolled to him and he's chipped it up, turned around, span it in the in the top corner. I mean, that is, he scored so many goals that so many players would love to just have got one of them. And it was goals where he's getting the ball in our halfway line and just ripping teams apart. Welbeck's not going to be that kind of player, but what he has got, he's got a superb engine, and I don't think anybody ever doubted that he was going to come to us and he was going to run all night, because you don't regularly play for the Champions League under Alex Ferguson at Man United unless you're going to put a shift in. So fair play to Ferguson for sort of drilling that into him. Really, he's got a fantastic engine. I mean, last night he's got a hat trick. We're 4-1 up. He's at the edge of our box defending. I mean, all right, we've got 10 men, but the work rate and the team spirit of the lad, and the fact that he's getting on so well with all the other English, British players, you can see there's a bond there already. I don't think he's going to be the next Henry, and he's not even going to be the next Ian Wright, but he's probably going to come third behind them. If he continues how he's going, if he continues getting into the space, if Wenger continues lining up the team to actually give him a chance to score. Because, I mean, we don't want to be hoofing the ball up to him like we was doing with Giroud. We've got to be playing through, playing it wide, got to be looking for openings. And, with Ozil in the middle, with Alexis down the left, and with Ox and even Walcott there on the right, we've got pace and power to scare teams. And Welbeck, he's just turned up at the right time and he's in the right place to hopefully go forwards really and hopefully do well for us really. I like I say, I mean, I was pretty much a bit disillusioned with him being the only signing towards the end of the transfer window. but I was glad that we signed him because obviously he's a hell of a lot better than Sonogo will ever be. And Giroud is clearly such a plan B, but like I say, he's growing into it, and people shouldn't heap too much pressure on him. Do you know what I mean? Just encourage him to do what he does. Do you know what I mean? He's going to have games where he hardly touches the ball, where teams try and block it up. But like I say, I really do think that good things are going to come from him. Really.
Well, I think it's the fact that he's come to us. He got written off at Man United by Louis van Gaal, and he really has come to us with a point to prove. Also, the fact that he was predominantly played on the wing at Man United, and now we've moved him into the centre, and he's starting to score goals. I mean, you saw his interview after the game, and he was just so over the moon. He's not even getting the match ball. But I think it's not only the goals that he can bring us; it's the link-up play as well. If you've seen him in the previous games, it's like he's held the ball and passed to Jack or Ozil, and then run through to receive the 1-2 and made chances like that. I'll continue this because I think it's quite an interesting topic, and I'll go to Jason next. Again, comparing Welbeck to Henry, Jace.
Oh, I'm not even going to bother. I got to be honest with you. No, it's a pointless exercise. On transfer deadline day, I wanted Cavani, and we got Danny effing Welbeck. Well, to be fair to Danny Welbeck, he's showing he's an intelligent boy, good attitude, full of intent.
Intelligence, Jason. Top word, mate. He's intelligence. But
that's it, doesn't it, Gav? The boy knows where to run. He knows where to lay off. He's far from the finished article. Like we said a couple of weeks ago, he's gone from playing out wide to playing through the middle now. And, he's learning to do that again. And he's going to make mistakes. He's going to miss a couple of sitters. It's going to take him time to bed into the team. Remember, Henry's first season with us wasn't the greatest. It took him time to develop. But to be fair to this boy, for 16 million quid, he's looking like he could be bargain of the year. He really is. His finishing last night was so calm and collected, wasn't it? He didn't worry too much. He went through it all. He's getting into the right places. He's doing the right
there was
things.
no snatch. He didn't snatch it, did he? He could have quite easily snatched, especially the first one. He could have snatched at that, and he didn't.
Absolutely agree. He stroked it in beautifully, didn't he? And because I was looking at it thinking, why is he not going in with his left and what have you? But he knew 5 yards previously what he was going to do, and he went with what he trusted. And I'm just hoping this carries on, and Wenger and unearths. I know it's hard to say unearth. He's come from Man United. He's come from Alex Ferguson, but I really think Wenger can improve the guy. But all this bullshit of comparing him to Henry, it's one hat trick. It's we're a couple of games into the season. We haven't got that many wins under our belt yet. Let's give the kid a break. Again, our fan base is doing the usual thing of where they're going to idolise them or we're going to victimise them. Let's just stop. Just leave the kid enjoy himself.
And Raj, over to you next. He really did stroke that home beautifully, didn't he?
Just see
He
that.
did. I'll tell you what he brings to the team as well, apart from his skills, is that he's got such a positive attitude. And I noticed last night that he was having a little kind of link-up play between him, Sanchez, and Ozil. And Ozil's kind of started to perk up now because he can now play balls to a proper striker rather than the strikers we've had in the past. And I think that's going to be a huge factor as well. I mean, I just think it's very positive things to see yesterday, and I'm just hoping that they can recreate that next Sunday when it's even more important.
Yes, let's hope so. Danny, your final thought on Mr. Welbeck?
Absolutely stunning. it just shows, like Raj just said, that if you have someone who can, I always said of the poor old Mr. Giroud, if you blindfold him, he wouldn't have no idea where the goal is. Ian Wright, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, you could blindfold them, spin them in circles for 3 to 4 hours, and they would still instinctively know, like a compass pointing north, where the goal is, and that is Giroud's problem. His conversion rate from chances was always so bad. Sometimes it was like 1 in 6 or 7. Welbeck last night took nearly all of his chances and was just absolutely immense, and it actually makes me feel quite happy, the fact that we have got someone now who I can rely on to, if it is a tight game and he gets one chance, that he might actually score. But earlier I was on about hat-tricks. I've been through that site and I found out our last 3 hat-tricks. Everybody got them. I was just putting it in when we're all typing in the box at the bottom. Bentner was 5-0 v Porto in 9-10. Henry away at Inter Milan 3-1 in 2002-3. And did anybody know the last hat-trick before that?
Bergkamp.
Super Ray Parler, Werder Bremen in the UEFA Cup, 4-2. Remember that game? Oh, I remember some people would say, I think he actually come out and said, I should retire after this game, so I'm never going to do a performance better than that.
That was his only hat trick, wasn't it, for us?
Yeah. Well, he didn't really score that many goals, did he? No. But are you going to talk about the reaction of the fans last night, Gim? Because it was absolutely disgusting.
It was actually my next point.
Did you see the other Jeff's heat map? Everyone's always doing heat maps of Ozil. He did his very own heat map, and it was completely the Galatasaray heat map was completely nothing. But over in the far right corner, it looked like it was on fire.
But you see, Arsenal have been charged today with something along the lines of failing to keep the fans in order. It's pretty disgusting, really. They chucked flares onto the pitch, and the pitch actually caught fire. Raj, what was your take on this? It was disgusting behaviour, wasn't it?
Me and Gav are going to say something completely different, aren't we?
I don't know. Whatever you say, I'll tell you what, Raj. Whatever you say, I'll agree with you.
Well,
here we go. Some old school gooners here going to be telling the truth.
No, it's just flares, isn't it? It's not as if I heard from a few mates of mine who were down that end, and they had a few bottles thrown at them, which is not good. But I don't know. It just adds to the drama and the spectacle, and I suppose your old health and safety paranoia is going to come out when they start throwing them onto the pitch. But it's happened for years. They're not going to get done for it. It's a bit silly that we're going to get done for it, to be quite honest, because we can't control that. Although they should have searched for flares when they came in. I mean, I had a mate last night who got done for bringing in a bottle top, because he'd taken a plastic bottle top into his pocket because he was drinking a bottle of water, and yet they couldn't find a flare amongst 3,000 Galatasaray fans. But there was a huge I thought there was an overreaction on Twitter last night about the flares and stuff. Maybe I'm just old and grumpy, and I don't see a massive big deal over that, to be quite honest. Go on, Gav.
No, I actually agree with you. I think if that was an Arsenal away game, everybody would be saying, yeah, Arsenal, best away fans in the world, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a slight, hypocrisy. If that was us doing it, then it'd be all right. But because it's them, and, nobody likes Galatasaray fans, do you know what I mean? I've got a hatred for them. I'm sure a lot of people have as well, for even more, better reasons than myself. But, yeah, no, it's, like I say, it's just one of them things. It's chucking them on the pitch. They weren't chucking them physically at players. I mean, if it hit one of our players, then that's bang out of order. I mean, the Galatasaray fans are Galatasaray fans at the end of the day. They can't really be trusted to behave wherever they go, but be very hypocritical to say what they did inside the ground was that bad with regards to the flares.
Well, it wasn't just inside the ground, though, was it? It was on...
chucking bottles and coins, which they also did inside the ground, in areas where there was women and children, that I strongly disagree with. But,
about all the stuff going on outside the ground. There's those pictures of underneath, like one of the train tracks where they got the tunnel. I'm not sure whereabouts that was. Looks like on Holloway Road somewhere.
Nice.
Seven Sisters.
Hornsey Road between the Tollington and the Armoury.
I'm fucking useless with them. I haven't been there for years. I just used to get lost anyway. But they're showing like the entire traffic stopped. You got massive amounts of all the Galatasaray fans. It looks like they're being escorted to the ground because they've got a police van in front of them, and then it just looks like the kind of stuff that you would see in, I don't know, somewhere mental.
There is a video of them coming up the road towards the Tollington, and they chucked a couple of Well, it looked like he chucked one flare into sort of like the front garden bit of the Tollington. I mean, there was like a couple of thousand, by the looks of it, Galatasaray fans, and I mean, if they wanted to, they could have just completely run through that pub, and they didn't. They chucked a couple of flares, and nobody got hurt. And these things happen at football. They don't happen as much as they used to, but they happen.
Go on, Jace.
So I thought Besiktas just scored. Sorry.
Oh, there's football on, isn't there? Oh, God, I should have had this on the bloody telly rather than listening to you mongs.
Go on,
Gav,
Jace.
Gav, I've got a question for you. Sorry.
Go
So you trying to say that they were trying to torch the Tolly last night?
It looked, yeah, there was. I've seen a video of somebody talking, and I can confirm that last night I was at home on my sofa.
If you don't put Burn Baby Burn as the intro music to this show, I don't know what we're going to do.
That's disgusting.
Jace.
We don't condone violence, though.
No,
unless it's funny.
I mean, like I say, you saw, again. I mean, this is where you sort of come. You sort of, you've got to sort of question your morals, and you question sort of your level of what's acceptable or not. And sitting in the ground with flares, acceptable. Chucking coins and bottles into areas with women and children, not acceptable. Chucking flares into a pub, which clearly had women standing out the front of it, again, that's not acceptable. So I mean, you've got to go what you think's acceptable and what isn't acceptable in life. And what they did with the flares inside the ground, I feel was acceptable, but everything else from like I say, from the various YouTubes that have been passed my way were unfortunately not acceptable.
I think some bloke said on Twitter that when he goes to Arsenal away games in Europe, they get viciously frisked. I think they may be very, very over the top by police that are armed and you're not going to fuck with. But when they come over here, because they're such mental cases, and our police are there with their batons going, "Now you behave, you behave," because they got a bunch of morons and they're just going to do whatever they want.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, I mean, our police get beaten up by fucking student demonstrations. Do you know what I mean? That's the level of our fucking policing when it comes down to it.
Yeah, but the Galatasaray fans get away with it all over the place. They're renowned for. We all know what's happened in the past.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
They should be banned from all games because they're animals.
No, but Danny, what the police should do, okay, is kettle the fuckers and shoot the bastards with rubber bullets.
I'll let you in there with your Welsh Justice and your cricket bat.
Yeah, but no, unless you let these people know it's not acceptable, of course they're going to get away with it. They come over here and they think things are a soft touch.
That's because the police are so worried about having a legal action against them because you've roughly frisked me.
They should just give Gunnosaurus an AK-47 and let him sort it out.
I gotta be honest here, I'd like to see him hanging from the rafters.
This is only a rumour. I can't confirm this, but I heard that they got the flares in by hiding them in the bottom of Pringle boxes. Right?
Yeah, that would work. Yeah.
And then when they was asked to open them up, they opened it up. The police saw a load of Pringles at the top, and the stewards saw a load of Pringles at the top and let them in. But apparently there was a couple of people with some larger flash bangs that got arrested outside the ground. The thing is, the old sonic bomb things.
When I think it was Wales against Germany when we beat them 1-0 back in the 90s.
Boy. When we had kicks.
No, a guy let one of those flares off inside the Old Arms Park, and he killed an old guy.
Oh dear.
The guy, the flare hit an old fella.
That's
he shot it into another. He shot it and it sort of steered off and hit in the stand, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And and then it's not my fault. Well, no offence, fella. You fucking let a flare off inside the ground. Whether you meant to kill somebody or not is not the point. You're a dickhead. And until the police actually get a grip of it, or our hooligans are all taken care of, we take the passports or whatever. Well, why don't we stop other people coming to our country and doing it?
Well,
you racist!
Oh no, come on! The Napoli fans tried it down Swansea as well. I know half a pub went out to confront the ultras, and they did. All of a sudden, they weren't so keen on it. If you know what I mean.
But they have their own police with them, didn't they? Because I'm sure they had loads of their police, maybe 30 or 40 of them there as well. And they didn't really do much. Like sometimes when our Arsenal fans go abroad, they'll have some of the police going there with them to help sort things out. But Andrew was saying last night in WhatsApp that he was at the game, and after the game the police had dogs on the pitch to try and control them to make sure they got out. I'm not sure whether he was taking the piss or not.
No, I've seen the photograph.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I've seen the photograph. Yeah, it was. I think someone put the photograph on my Facebook page actually. Yeah, no, they. I think it looked like they were sort of holding them in really, because I think it would have been a little bit stupid to let everybody out at the same time.
And they were. I also read on Twitter that they were getting bottles, pissing in them, leaving the lids off, and then chucking them up to the level above them, which I thought that's fair enough.
The Italians like doing that as well, don't
in
they?
the executive boxes. No, probably the executive boxes are all empty for the one-game wonders that ever fucking turn up.
No. We'll turn our attentions away from that then, and we'll get back to the game. Now, another talking point was Szczesny's sending off. Raj, what did you make of this?
Reckless, to be quite honest. I mean, he didn't need to do that. We were 4-0 up. To be quite honest, he could have just let him score. Would have won the game anyway. He's done that before, and he needs to learn. And
if I remember, he did it at Euros, didn't he? A couple of years back.
Yeah. But I mean, the way Ospina played afterwards. So I was quite impressed with him, and he did 2 or 3 very good saves. Sometimes there's a little bit of arrogance in him, and he thinks he's untouchable. But I'm pretty sure Ospina's gunning for his place. So he needs to be careful. He's going to miss the next 2 matches in Europe. So I don't know. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Ospina gets his place by the end of October.
And Gav, a lot of people have said that it's down to Szczesny's low concentration levels. Is that something you go with, or do you think the problem is something completely different?
I just think it's his age. And like I say, I mean, I've got this theory really that goalkeepers don't really mature until they hit their late 20s. And Szczesny's only 24, and he's only really had 1-2 full seasons, if that. Do you know what I mean? And he's still, in goalkeeping terms, he's like the 19-year-old Chambers at right back or centre back. He's still learning his trade. He's still learning when he can come out. And all you can really hope for, really, is that he continues to learn by his mistakes. Because if he can learn by his mistakes, then he's only going to improve him. But like I say, it's just one of the things. I don't think it's. I just don't think it's down to anything but experience. And even the best keepers in the world, come out, pull a keeper down, pull a player down and get sent off. It's happened to everybody. So it's just part of a goalkeeper's life, really. He's going to make them mistakes. So if you don't make too many of them.
No, I don't think anyone's questioning his ability as a shot stopper, just some of the decisions that he chooses to make while he's in goal. Jace, what's your take on this particular one?
I think he's an arrogant bugger, to be honest there. I think, you look at him sometimes as a selfies down the lane. You look at the way he looks at the referee. I want him to be great, but I think his decision-making at times is rotten. I think his distribution's not good enough. And you talk about learning from mistakes. Getting sent off against Greece in the Euros cost him his Poland position. If he hasn't learned that by then, after that, he's got a problem. And he gets sent off against Bayern Munich. Pretty bloody important game. Okay? Now, we've had a raft of injuries. Ospina's only just come back from injury as well. And now he gets himself banned from Europe again. I know he's young. I know he's 24. I'd be a far bigger dickhead if I was in his position. Far bigger. Okay? But he's got a responsibility to the team, and he needs to pull his finger out and live up to that. It's no good. We're 4-0 up. It doesn't really matter if it's 0-0. Him getting sent off on a penalty does not help us. I'm not saying not to be brave, but it's not the first time, and he needs to sharpen up his whole game. I'm not sold on Ospina either, to be honest. I know he made a few good saves, but he likes to drop that ball in the area, and he went for one cross ball with one hand. I didn't quite get that. But it's about time Szczesny he's got a hell of an opportunity. And, he needs to take the opportunity with both hands. Not act like a big-time Charlie at times.
But I think Ospina is definitely a keeper that can challenge him. He's not someone that's there to make up numbers. I mean,
he's banned at the moment, so it's not hard, is it?
But his performances in the World Cup, Ospina, I mean, were absolutely fantastic. You couldn't fault him.
He's only 6 foot, okay? And I got to be honest, I like the boy Foster who went from Celtic to Southampton.
I bet you do.
Hey, don't judge me by your standards. But no, he's more of a presence, etc. Ospina I don't know. I'm not sure about him. I just don't know about him. But he sort of strikes me as the kid who gets picked in goal in school, and he's full of effort, and he'll give you a couple of good games. But hopefully he proves me wrong.
But Ospina is a kind of keeper that, like, technically he's good, but he's just ultimately brave. He will chuck himself in front of any ball.
Hey, look at he pulled off a real Hollywood last night as well, didn't he?
What, you mean the one that he caught with 2 hands and chucked while in midair?
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Basketball move that was.
Yeah, why did he chuck it? What's going on there? This is the bit that worries me. One cross, he's gone for it with one arm in the air. You explain that to me, and you explain why I should have confidence in him. Hopefully he proves me wrong, and he's a top keeper for us. But at the moment, look, Arsene Wenger knows keepers better than I do.
To Danny now. Where do you see Ospina challenging Szczesny? Do you think the top spot in the team is gettable for this guy?
Well, I think last season we saw Szczesny come on in leaps and bounds because he had a full-fledged international who had played 6 or 7 times for Italy in the Manuel Almunia Mark II in pushing him, and I think it'll be a good thing the fact that he got sent off. I was just watching the replay 6 times on Arsenal player, and Szczesny was on his knee halfway near the penalty spot by the time the ball had come in his area. So he had committed himself and there was nothing else he could do apart from go for the ball. I think he knew. I think it was a bit harsh. Maybe it should have only been a yellow, but I'm quite happy that he's been sent off because I would like Ospina to get a chance, because Ospina's only had 1 game against Southampton in which we only lost 2-1, one of which was a penalty. Not much you can do about that. I mean, he's only conceded 3 goals for us, 2 of which have been penalties. Having seen him in the World Cup, he was probably one of the best 2 or 3 goalkeepers at the World Cup. He was absolutely brilliant, along with a fantastic Colombia side. And according to Wikipedia, James Rodriguez is married to Ospina's sister.
Yeah,
so when he falls on his arse at Real Madrid, which he will, then maybe we could get him over here and we could have another right winger or someone else we could play at left back. But I just think he was unlucky to get sent off. Szczesny is going to be a hell of a goalkeeper, because I was talking on the live radio thing last night. At the age Szczesny is now 24, Seaman had only just signed for QPR. Now, anybody who remembers that far back, Seaman was nothing special when he left Peterborough to go to QPR or left Leeds, or whichever way round it was.
Danny, he may become a hell of a keeper, but he plays for the Arsenal now.
Yeah.
He plays for the Arsenal now, so he needs to improve now.
Oh, he does. He does.
His distribution, his decision making, leave a lot to be desired.
He needs to hold on to the ball more often and wait. He's very impatient to get the ball out, and it was nice seeing Ospina actually hold the ball longer, wait till there's an opportunity, and then kicking the ball out and throwing it out when necessary, rather than just rashly throwing it out as soon as he gets it to try and counter-attack, because our counter-attacking ways of football are long gone.
But you remember when we had Mad Jens, okay?
Certainly do.
Oh, what's the lad's name? Was at Chelsea, France. Was it Desai? In the Champions League game, he held him back as Jens was distributing the ball.
Because of Desai.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. When Debussy was fit, you'd see him. All of a sudden, he's on his toes straight away. Debussy. Gibbs can do it as well with his pace. He needs to understand when to give and when not to give.
Yeah, that's true.
But, if there's space ahead of these guys, get it out to them quickly, because they got bags of pace they can run onto, but he needs to be aware of his surroundings. And I know experience will help him with that. But, if there's green ahead of our wing backs, get the ball out there.
So-
He worries me, mate.
Do you think it would do Chesney a good? Will having another international top quality goalkeeper taking his place, and he knows that he can't fuck around because he will be dropped in the Premier League as well as in the Champions League.
I hope so, Dan. I hope
Yeah?
you're right. Yeah. I'm not sold on either of them at the moment, personally. But wait, my opinion counts for nothing. But let's
Of
hope
course it does.
let's hope they make each other better. You know?
I think they will do. Yeah.
I mean, this goes back to conversations that we probably had on here about a year ago.
Yeah.
When we were saying the problem with Chesney is he hasn't got a hell of a lot of competition for his place, and there is no one in training to sort of put pressure on him and to sort of lift him to the next level. And he's an absolute brilliant signing, really.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna learn things off of him that he wouldn't have learnt off Fabianski or fucking whoever the other prick was that I can't even be bothered to remember his name. Do you know what I mean? But he's gonna learn things off him. He's gonna learn things in training. You only improve by training with better players.
I think it doesn't help the fact that we've got old Steve's favourite Jerry Payton still as our goalkeeping coach. How can you have a person as a goalkeeping coach who never made it anywhere decent as a player? I mean, for me, you should get him out and get Seaman in. Get a carp fishing lake somewhere near Arsenal, and maybe get Seaman to come in the mornings, do the training, and then off to the carp lake after, because Seaman would be brilliant.
Our head coach didn't really make it as a player either.
Very true indeed. Yes.
We'll move this on then.
That was subtly done.
I'm talking about
Move, quick. Get out, run.
I'm talking about
I remember that.
Years in charge of Arsenal. Many of you know we have a big special next week involving Gav and Jeff, but I wanted to take the time to talk about the highs and the lows of what is the longest serving Premier League manager at the moment. So, Gav, we'll go to you first because it's quite fitting. Your highs and lows of Arsene Wenger's tenure.
Highs, the double in '98. Still remember the
God, I feel like I was there.
That was just an amazing side.
Everton 4-0. Hello.
The FA Cup final that year.
Oh, Newcastle 2-0. I was at both.
And then you go on to the.
He's having a wank.
Dan. Just don't listen to this. Don't listen to this next bit.
No.
Right, the 3 FA Cup finals on a row.
Oh dear.
The 3 magnificent weekends in Manchester for the semi-finals against Sheffield United, Middlesbrough, and I'm trying to think of the other one now.
Oh God knows.
Our little neighbours up the road. Which was the most one-sided semi-final ever. How we fucking didn't absolutely smack them that day, and the last time that Sol Campbell played for them before he joined us. The day that Sol Campbell was announced as an Arsenal player.
Oh, I remember that day. I couldn't believe it. Brilliant.
Tony Adams with his arms up in the air.
Almost worth a statue.
Yeah, the Invincibles.
This could go on for hours.
Thierry Henry.
Stop when you get to 2006.
Robert Perez.
Freddie Ljungberg.
Petit and Vieira through the middle.
Dear, don't.
Oh dear.
Raj is done.
He's done. And then we kind of goes a bit astray for a few years, really. But yeah, if we stop around there.
So
if we stop around there. A young Cesc Fabregas. Yeah.
To counteract that, then your lows.
Lows.
Well, don't ruin a good thing.
We can go from there to Denilson.
And Andre Santos.
Bentner.
Squillaci.
Sigon. Sigon.
Quality Stepanovs.
Emmanuel Amulia. Oh, don't. Losing in Paris, but we can't really blame him too much for that.
No, you can't blame him for that.
The Birmingham League Cup final.
Can we blame him for that?
Fucking, who's the manager? if we're gonna give him credit for the others, let's be balanced.
Fair.
Yeah. Take the
Finishing,
wins and the losses.
and then we've got finishing fourth, and finishing.
Which
fourth,
one? Which one?
And finishing fourth,
Which one?
and finishing fourth.
Oh, that one.
Got the 8-2 at Man United.
Don't mention the 6-0 or I'm off.
There's going to be a lot of sex suicides out there tomorrow. Gav's last 5 minutes.
Seriously, mate, I've gone from fully erect to. Do you know what I mean? I don't even think there's
Push
any.
stud.
Do you know what I mean? I'm slapping it and nothing's happening.
That's just too much. Stop it now, please. Please.
Yeah, no, it's like I say, it's. I think really, you can sort of literally cut Wenger's time with us completely in half and say the first half was absolutely amazing, and the second half was
disappointing.
It just happened, and no matter what people want to give the reasons behind it, we could have won. We could have won trophies. We could have done better in that time. And if anybody wishes to disagree with that, I suggest you go fuck yourselves.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Oh, there you go. There's a surprise.
There you go.
Let me guess, Jace. The glory years started at 2006 onwards.
No, look, there are reasons for what's happened. By the way, my favourite memory of him, other than Old Trafford standing there after being sent off for kicking a bottle. Every time Vieira did try to break somebody's legs, and I didn't see it.
Senegalese justice.
You've got to love him for that. He was he backed his players. And that's maybe his biggest Achilles heel as well. As much as he's allowed the Henrys, the Pires', Petits, Vieiras, what have you, to flourish, he's also backed a couple of donkeys. We can't get away from that. But I mean, he's at a level of consistency which most clubs would bite their hand off for. Yeah, well, behave. Where were United last season?
And this season.
Yeah,
and next season.
Jason, you do realise when Arsene Wenger took over Arsenal, we'd won more titles than Man United. And now they're seventh in front of us.
We'd won more than United and less than Everton. You've got to look at that both ways, haven't you?
No.
I got no problem. Hey, you've got to treat the man with respect, Whichever way, we're now a super club. He's got a big part to play in that. But he also has the responsibility of spending that money wisely.
Are you charging £3 million for this advice, Jace?
He's not a chartered accountant.
No, is he not?
No.
No.
Seriously, if the club don't spend, Jason's still going to spend, not spend. Oh, I can't make it.
Right, so
Can I bring something up here, Mr. Goon? There's a really good book that I've just ordered off of Amazon called Arsene Wenger, 50 defining fixtures. Now it's by a bloke who's on Twitter called Layth Laythy29. Oh God, I'm going to give you his @ LAYTHY29. Now, he's been an Arsenal fan for about 1 million years, and the book is absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I've just ordered it. It's only £9.09 on Amazon paperback. That's with free delivery. So go out there, and that's one of the many decent Arsenal books that are coming out. We've got some friends of the pod that are doing books, and all of these games are mentioned in there. And so I think I heard him on another Arsenal podcast, Football Tactically Arsenal, and he divides the Wenger's reign into 3 sections, and we can all figure out what those 3 sections are. And I think, like Gav was saying, that some of the most brilliant things that Wenger has done for us are slow up until the FA Cup final, was slowly been outbalanced by the number of bad things. But hopefully we're on a new foot here with a couple of decent players, everyone gelling together, and we all know that once we have a fully fit squad, I don't think any team in the Premier League will touch us, because we'll outscore them, we'll outdefend them, we'll outplay them, we'll outskill them. And it's just so unlucky that Wenger has decided not to get backup players where we need them. And I think, are we going to come on to the him giving Arteta an extra extended deal until 2016?
we are.
I got told by some...
How is it unlucky? that we didn't get the backup players.
No. Did I say unlucky? I meant stupid.
I agree.
I'll accept
with
that.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well corrected.
Yeah, but I think all the stuff Gav says that there's no point me listing it all off because he listed it all there. And lucky enough, I was there. I stopped going in 2008, and coincidentally, Arsenal turned to shit. So people will be glad to know that I've applied for my Arsenal membership, and I'll be going to some games before the end of this season, before the end of this year.
So it's your fault.
Tell you what, I decided we all know, I'm not going to go over the story again of when I can pinpoint the point where I said, that's it, fuck them, I'm not going anymore because it's bullshit. And now I want to go back mainly because I want to come and meet all you lot at games.
The closest
Podcast
manager
friends
who's been in charge of a club is Alan Pardew.
That's not for long.
And that's not even going to be for long. So are we saying that, managers being in charge of clubs for such a long time, would you say Arsene Wenger is the last of a dying breed, Raj?
Yeah, absolutely. But don't forget, in any other club, it'd have been sacked by now. So,
Yep.
don't get carried away too much. I'm a type of person that will never. I'm not going to abuse Arsene Wenger. I know a lot of people say some pretty nasty stuff about him on Twitter.
Yeah, but those people aren't worth worrying about today.
But at the same time, I think he's taken this as far as he can really. I think he's got 3 more years. I'm not going to complain about it because there's nothing I can do to change that. But his first half of his career was fantastic, just like Gavin said. And my only kind of thing was that I didn't want him to. He's left a really good legacy at the club, but the longer he goes on with this current way of doing things, he's going to just tarnish that legacy.
So, here's a question for you. In the 18 years, have we moved forward more on or off the pitch?
We've definitely advanced. He's created. You've got to give him the credit for making us the club we are now. It's just my only thing is that the last few years he's kind of just starting to that fabled, the legendary status that he has is starting to slowly crumble away. I know a million fans out there will totally disagree with me, and I think it's more of me protecting him in terms of look, you've done what you can. Perhaps, at the end of this 3 years, it's time to move on.
And one more question. Will he go down as the best Arsenal manager ever? I'll ask that to all of you. Just a yes or no, please. Jason, I'm looking at you. Danny?
He will, but not for... Yes.
Yes or no?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, Jace?
Yes, obviously.
Raj?
Terry Neal's listening tonight, so I've got to say Terry Neal's the best manager ever.
Hello, Terry.
Hello, Terry. And finally, Gav?
Hello, Terry. If you're asking me to answer this question in one word, I'm not going to answer it.
No, I found that trouble as well.
Okay, go on. You get the disposal to ask in more than one.
That's unfair. Referee.
Get in. See, teacher's pet. There's an apple in the post here.
Thank you. I don't eat apples.
No, he's even better. He's going to go down, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? You're not going to be manager of the Arsenal for 18 years and not have some form of legendary status. But what really, history will prove that he lost his way halfway through the reign and things slowly got sort of stagnated really for quite some time. And really, what he's probably been sort of credited for, which a lot of people should be as credited, is the building of the new ground and keeping us financially stable. Obviously there's other people at the club that have done just as much, perhaps even more than him to do that. Really what he should have done really was perhaps have gone upstairs 4 or 5 years ago and stayed at the club. The youth system at our club, even though the youth team are putting some good results in at the moment, has never been in such a bad condition. In the 18 years that Arsene Wenger's actually been at Arsenal, we've have the only London boy that's actually come through the ranks was Ashley Cole, who ironically was there before Wenger was, and Kieran Gibbs, which we bought once Wimbledon closed and moved up to where Tottenham were going to be playing soon.
And he didn't even
So-
rate Cole, did he?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, he only played Cole because there was injuries to Winterburn and Silvino.
And
if
he'd
I'm-
farmed him out to Palace.
Yeah, like I say, I mean that. From looking at it from a legacy point of view, if you was to get a job at a top club, knowing that you'd get 18 years there, the first thing you'd do would be to get the best youth system in place, so that you're putting through local kids with some heart and some passion for the club. Obviously, that didn't quite work so well with that cunt who moved to Chelsea, but that would be the first thing that you did. So, I mean, from looking at it like that, his legacy really is quite tainted with the fact that the youth system has never been in such bad shape at our club, with regards to local London kids coming through and making it in the first team. The fact that we moved grounds and we've lost quite a large percentage of our core support. The fact that we haven't won trophies whilst increasingly seeing ticket prices go up and up and up. So that if you're going to sort of give Wenger credit for one thing with the club, you've got to sort of take the rough and the smooth with it, really. So it's kind of like a very, very much bittersweet if I was to look over the 18 years. But obviously, of course, for what he's won us, he's a legend.
And Danny, it's only fair that I let you answer that.
I would say that for me, it's a toss-up between him and George Graham, because George Graham started with nothing, did it all on bare bones, did it all with almost all English players, which is, I know we're straying off topic a little bit here, but Man City a bloke from Man City was on the radio this week saying that they have decided their future is going to be with English players, and that's how they're going to do them, scout them from all over the UK, and they had 7 players in the England under-18 squad were all from Man City, which has never been done before.
Yeah, but who are they buying those off?
No, they're just getting them. They're getting them. Well, they're under 18s. You're not buying them off of anyone.
Yeah, but you're attracting them with money on too.
Yeah, but it's doable, and it's much easier to do that than what Wenger did by buying all the best youth players from all over the world, which and then getting them at the age of 16, 17, taking them to a new country and failing because they don't know the culture, they don't know the language. But personally, my way wouldn't be to do it English. It would be do it to England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the Republic of Ireland. That would be my core. That would be I'd get the best players, and I wouldn't have player contract parity like they all had, where you're playing youth players more than some other first team players that other clubs were getting. But that just shows that even now, this day and age, it is not too late to go out there and try and make the core of. I'd release virtually every single player at the club that isn't first team, apart from the British ones, and say, well, there you go. This is what we're concentrating on, because, like Gav was saying, this is the worst state it has ever been in for the youth levels at our club, because he's had what 2 or 3 failed attempts to do it the Wenger way, with trying to copy what Alex Ferguson did with his Fergie's fledglings, or whatever those pricks were called. But for me, it's George Graham. I know, sorry, Jace, but it's George Graham for me. That is.
Hold on, George Graham was sacked from the post again.
That's got nothing to do with it. He was made an example of.
No,
they were all.
Hey,
You look at Brian Clough.
Guys,
they were all at it.
They all hid the end of the table because it was against the rules. Whether they were all at it doesn't make a difference, okay? You break the law just because everybody else does it doesn't mean it's right.
The thing
okay?
is, though,
guys, I'm sorry. I'll leave you come back at me with this now, okay? But I wouldn't deny Graham. Graham gave me some fantastic moments. You've got to respect the man for what he achieved. He went and won the title at Anfield, the home of British football at the time. When all the odds were against him, he did that. 91 was a fantastic title winning side. If we would have been able to play in Europe, we might have won the European Cup. We were that good, in my opinion. He was a great manager for us, and he is one of the great managers for us. But I wouldn't compare him and Wenger and try to take away from either of them with the other's achievements or vice versa, simply because they've both contributed to Arsenal Football Club, and they, other than not one stupid mistake with George Graham, it was happening all the time, whatever, but other than one aspect of his stewardship of the club, George Graham was a great manager for us. You ask Landers Limpart, he'll give you a different story for personal reasons, as with other players with Wenger. it's one of those things. They're different characters. They're both great men, but a season undefeated. You know, that's
true.
You know, you hear the song 49-49 undefeated playing
I
the
hate that
Arsenal.
song.
I can imagine you would. But
I hate that song as well.
No, it's about 6 years too late to start singing it. To start,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
that 6 years ago, it would have been funny.
But the way I look at it, Jason, is with Wenger, I've had more highs than any other manager, but I've also had more lows than any other manager. George Graham would never have accepted the kind of stuff that the team get away with now. The losses.
I mean, George Graham was losing his way.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah, but you've never been lower than fourth with Arsene Wenger. And I know that's not winning trophies. I don't count it as a trophy at all.
But we should have been capable of more. That's the thing that annoys me.
The last couple of seasons, I agree. I do agree. And, you know, my viewpoint on Arsene Wenger is changing. But I think the guy deserves... He's earned the respect. You know, whether you want to...
No one's denying that, Jason.
No, you're tidy about it. You know, there are some scumbags on Twitter who go bananas about it. But, you know, whether they want him in or out, I don't care. You know, it's none of my business what people's viewpoint is. But the guy's had some magical achievements. And you know, you can't take that away from him. Whether people want him sacked or not, that, you know, that's up to them. I wouldn't say, oh, you're wrong or whatever. You know, everybody's do their own viewpoint.
I think we should hear Gimli's side on this, but before we do, you know, we've got hashtag Arsenal knows best and Arsenal out. I've just started one that hasn't been done before. Hashtag Arsenal KO. And the KO is Kroenke out, and that's my stance on Arsene Wenger. You start with the main problem, which is the owner. So I'm the first person to do Arsenal, hashtag Arsenal KO, and Kroenke out, and then once he's out, then we can go to the other problems. Gim, go on, what do you think about the best manager?
No, I was actually going to continue asking you questions, seeing as we're strapped for budget and nobody really cares what I think anyway.
Oh, of course we do. Go on, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
No, it's okay.
You fucking answer it, or I'll come out there and I'll slap your legs.
Do I think he's been the best manager? I think the first, like Gav said, the first part of his tenure, yeah, I do. But I think he's seriously tainted his legacy. And as he goes on, by making bad decisions, he just makes it even worse for himself. To the point that the fans will get on his back, and he won't be remembered for all the good things that he's done. He'll be remembered for all the bad things that he left us with.
Succinctly put, well done. Didn't take you 5 minutes either.
Oh, good. But I mean, decisions like today, Mikel Arteta got a new contract when a lot of people have actually calling him to be, you know, shipped out in the summer. Gav, good or bad decision for you? Bad then.
I think that says it all.
Okay, Raj. Good or bad?
How long was his contract for?
1 year. It was a 1 year extension.
He's been given an extension for next year.
I've got no problem with that. Well, we're just not in a position of getting rid of players at the moment because we're not going to buy them. So,
well, not the right ones.
And we all know that he's not going to play 40 games in a season, but when he does play, he's good. I like him. And if we can get another year out of him, then great. I mean, I've got no problem with that extension at all.
Do you think maybe that now that Flamini's had a couple of games in his absence, do you maybe think that Flamini isn't the answer and Arteta is actually better than Flamini? Because I'm beginning to think that.
Flamini started off brilliantly last year.
Passion, that's what it was. It was that game against Spurs. Yeah.
It is. And
that bought him a season.
Again, I was one of the ones who was against signing on, but he proved me wrong again. You know, another player that proved me wrong.
Maybe you should stop making predictions, Raj.
Or maybe I should carry on making predictions because maybe someone will listen and buy someone, basically.
Yeah, true.
With Arteta, yeah, I'd give him another year. We'll get 20 games out of him per season, maybe a little bit more, and I'll rate him when he plays.
It depends. It's worth keeping him about if, you know, we're going to sort of actively look to get somebody else in that role. But if
does that have to be in January for you, Gav?
What, this year or 2 years ago?
Or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago. But what it does need to be is big Willie Carvalho. I watched him play the entire game against Chelsea. That's the third time I've seen him play. He is nothing if not average.
The thing is Arteta was never, and has never in his career, been a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
So basically, you know,
he's adapted and done quite a good job.
He's tried to adapt him. He does okay, but I don't think he's got that natural instinct when it actually comes down to defending. I really don't. I don't think he's actually, you know, he's not. bloody hell, I mean, I'll take Hillier over him now. I really would.
Oh,
Hillier.
Dave.
Seriously,
No,
Dave, if you're listening, mate, I've got
He's
your back.
he's still
Right.
fit. He'd go out there and you'd be able to rely on him. You wouldn't let anyone past
Right,
him.
fuck you up.
No, but yeah, do you know what I mean? Though you've got, like I say, you want someone in that position who
Knows how to tackle.
yeah, exactly. You want a
No fear.
natural and like I say, I just think Arteta just his positioning sometimes in that position he's wrong. And I mean, if we're going to go back to if we was going to go back 20 years ago and go back to sort of like the sweeper formation when the attacking midfielders went back and sprayed the ball about, blah blah blah, then yeah, it would work. But the game's moved on.
Well, if people go back and listen to a few pods ago where Hillier was talking about why Arteta is doing the mistakes he's making and the things that Hillier would be doing differently, you get such a brilliant insight into the job of a defensive midfielder, and he brings up so many things that Arteta just doesn't do.
No, definitely so. The other news this week is Giroud getting a new contract as well. And
It's a
lot
little
of people
laugh.
have criticised that one for the fact that, yes, he's out injured, and a lot of people have said it could have waited. Jason, to you on this one, was it a bit premature?
Well, first of all, on Arteta, no, I wouldn't have given him a new contract. Not at all.
Bloody hell. Hello, welcome to the dark side.
Not being funny. His legs are gone. Your legs go, your lungs go, your head goes. Simple. The guy served us with great credit.
Definitely.
He's been fantastic. I got a lot of respect for him.
Yep.
I just think a season too much. Giroud, I don't know. I'm not particularly bored.
Hey, I do the stupid pointless things, not you.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm not particularly bored.
Who are we talking about?
Giroud.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Oh,
And again, Jason,
Sorry, Jace. Sorry.
Ollie.
Yeah.
Ollie, who?
Wait.
The guy with the haircut. No. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure his contractual details were. How long he had left on his contract before. I don't
18
know.
months.
18 months. Well, this is the thing. Okay, so if he goes to if it goes on too long, we get to another Van Persie situation. Maybe it is the perfect timing. We've how many times have we mourned, or how can he let it get down to the last 12 months of the contract?
That's a very good point.
You can't win either way sometimes, can you? Sorry, Gav. Go on.
Right. Mr. Wenger, in his past, had this rule that he wouldn't sign players on for more than 1 year after they got over the age of 30.
Yeah.
And now he's done it with Arteta. And
Who will be 32 when his contract ends.
Giroud will be 32, and he's paying him 80 grand a week. Now, Giroud is hopefully with with Welbeck plan as well as he's playing. Even once he's fully fit, he'll be plan B. So, but obviously, he's a better plan B than what Sonogo ever was. But like I say, when you look at the contract details, the fact that he's got 18 months, so if we let it run to the end of the year this year, then he would only have next year, and he could sign this time next, in 14 months' time, he could be looking at signing a pre-contract with another club and all that. So, contractual wise, it probably is good timing, and we've probably got him on less wages now he's been injured, and they probably had a chance to sit down and talk to him for longer periods of time because he's injured and not training every day. So it's good timing fiscally, really, but I just don't understand it. I mean, personally, I would say, I wouldn't have done anything and said to him, look, let's see where we are at the end of the season.
Sorry, Gav, can I ask you a question here? And you and Raj on this one. There's an amount of money that's been allocated to these two guys. Okay. Do you think it could be better spent elsewhere?
The thing is, if you're looking at losing Giroud in not the end of this season, the end of next season, and then you're looking at it's going to cost you £10 million, including his wages for the next 2 years, then if he's still fully fit and if he's still firing, then that possibly is good business. But like I say, it's just the timing, really, and the fact I like to see players hungry for their next contract. and wanting to prove that they're good enough to play for the Arsenal to earn the next contract. So really, I think this contract really should have been dealt with at the end of the season. Because I mean, anything can happen. I mean, I know he only fractured a bone in his foot.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if he refused to sign end of the season,
yeah,
then we're letting him go for peanuts.
If you don't want to play for the Arsenal, Jace, as you used to say, fuck them. You said that all the time, mate. If they don't want to play for the Arsenal, fuck off.
I stick by that. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Have that on a T-shirt.
Boys. We're a super club. I don't understand why anybody doesn't want to play for us. We are fucking awesome.
Do you know what I mean, Jace? It's like saying I'd rather have Giroud had waited to the end of the season, right? You see him come back in January or March, knowing our medical staff, right? and fight for his place. Do you know what I mean? Let him fight for his place. Agree. Fight for his place in training. Get on the pitch, bang a few goals in, run about like a fucking headless chicken. Do you know what I mean? Spit blood, bleed blood on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want to see. And if at the end of the season he's proven himself that he's going to be good enough, then bang. All right, it might cost us a few more quid, but hopefully we would have got a few more goals and a bit more effort out of him.
Mm.
You
And
know what I mean?
Danny, we'll go to you for your final word.
I know we're pushed on time, so I'll get straight to the point. He signed a contract now. If his contract wages go up today, then that means if we'd have waited until after Christmas when he was fit, we'd have saved ourselves £250,000, roughly £250,000 he'll earn extra from if he'd have signed the contract today, which I think he probably has done in the last week. And it won't be like the contract starts at the beginning of next season, it'll be renewed immediately. So that's £250,000 wasted. That just shows the kind of financial moronicism that we have at the club at times. And I'd keep him at the club. That like one of you lot said, that Wenger gets so much shit for letting players' contracts expire. Next up is Theo Walcott's contract, because I think a year or so ago he was linked to Liverpool and we gave him a new deal, and I think Theo's going to sign a new contract. So I'd rather have the players earning too much and staying at the club than being allowed to leave on a free. And I think if he does come back, his position in the team will change, because we play a different style with Welbeck than we do with him. So I think it's a good thing that he signed, but personally I'd have waited until probably December the 31st 2014 and then offered him a contract and saved the money and given it to me.
No. Right, we'll end this by doing some Twitter questions and some Facebook questions. Danny and Jace.
Jace, you go first. Ladies first.
Oh, all right. Right, okay. First one is from my favourite, Mark Lewis. When Walcott returns, what's your starting 11? And we'll go to Raj on that one.
Christ, I've got no idea.
11 each.
Well, I'll tell you what. When is Walcott coming back? Because
it's already moved a month already.
Oh, well, you've got no idea what the starting 11 is. I mean,
how about midfield 4 across the midfield? What would be your 4 then with a fully fit team with Walcott? That's easier to do.
Yeah.
Walcott,
25th of October, Physio Room says.
I'll tell you what, right, just take last night's team. Would you put Theo in? And if so, who would you pull out?
Oh. Got no idea. I'm not a big. I don't think Walcott's going to be around for months. Honestly, you just got no idea what the 11's going to be. But would you put him in instead of? I mean, Ox? Yes, supposed to. But Ox is playing well at the moment.
Brilliantly.
He might be playing even better in 6 weeks' time.
The thing is, as well, Walcott's going to be integrated into that team very slowly.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just going to go in and hit the ground running. It's going to be like almost a kid signing for the team for the first time.
Because that kind of injury, you don't just walk back in the team from
don't forget,
dribs and drabs.
Sorry, in about 8 weeks' time or 10 weeks' time or whenever he does come back slowly, we'll have other injuries.
The Ox will...
No, but it's true. It is true. Yeah. It is true.
He might get a game at right back.
So knowing our lot, the Ox will be out of the Ebola virus.
Yeah, I mean, he'll slot back in pretty easily, I reckon, because the way we're going with injuries, there'll be plenty of gaps in them.
Oh, this is the cheery pod.
No, I'm not being cheery at all. I'm not having a go about injuries.
Realist.
Yeah.
It's just bad luck this year, isn't it? I mean, it's horrendous, the injuries, and when he comes back, I'm sure there will be a slot for him.
I can hear Jeff and FK squirming in their Wenger Y fronts.
Anyone thought we lost 4-1 last night?
I know. I'm so happy to be here, boys.
How am I being negative?
No, just the entire pod. Just all of us. We're all very realistic is the word I'm looking for.
It's just like we're on a massive come down.
I don't think so. I think we've been honest tonight, you know, and I don't think we've been overly negative, to be quite honest.
Well, to answer the question, to move it on, I think
Yeah.
that we're going to see a little bit more of Walcott up front until Giroud comes back. I think that Walcott is going to be our backup striker, so he'll maybe come on as a few games as a sub playing up front for Welbeck.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I think you're probably right, Dan, and like I say, everybody else is probably right as well. Like he'll hopefully get come back into the team nice and slowly and nice and easy. 30 minutes at the end of the game here, 20 minutes at the end of a game there, and hopefully mix it up between being up front and on the right.
Gim and Jace, can I answer this, or should I do a Twitter question?
I think Gav's answered that perfectly from my point of view.
Okay, right. A quick Twitter question. I've put a bit of thought into this, so I'll answer first. This is from @antwand1405. In your time of watching Arsenal, what specific goal did you celebrate the most? Now, I was thinking the 98 Everton game, the 98 FA Cup final, but then thinking about it, I would have to say the Sol Campbell Champions League game, because not only was I there, not only were we down to 10 men, but it was a good goal, and I thought that's it. Well, because we were known for our defending, we'd been on that run of not conceding a goal for about 1,000 Champions League games in a row. But then, I think that would be the one that I went the most mental about. Gimli?
I think it was probably recently, because the last time we actually won anything of any note, I was probably balls deep in some girl somewhere. But I think Aaron Ramsey's FA Cup winner.
Yeah.
No,
Doesn't apply to animals, Gav.
No, but no, I think as goals go, the one I've probably celebrated the most off memory will probably be Aaron Ramsey's recent one.
Or maybe Santi's free kick.
I chucked my spliff at the telly when Oxlade-Chamberlain scored at the weekend and spit everywhere.
Jace.
Because I was half pissed.
Jace, have you got one?
Yeah, Nicky Thomas.
Oh.
Yeah, we got nothing really when I was growing up.
Forget your old Jace.
Hey, dude, I got the miles on the clock.
52.
Cheeky twat. But we're in the pub. The pub just erupted. All the United fans were celebrating in Armandford, either United or Liverpool fans. And there were only two of us, and the pub erupted. And the Liverpool fans started chucking bottles at us. It all kicked off.
Bastards. Fuck 'em.
It was fantastic. That for me is the greatest moment.
Mr. She-War?
Yeah, I've been trying to think as you lot have been answering. Probably the goals I've gone nuts and celebrated the most over were probably really insignificant, really, because they were not exactly special goals, but was just due to the fact that it was still terracing. And scoring when you're on a terrace is, completely different to scoring, when you're in a pub or when you're you've got a row of seats in front of you and a row of seats behind you. I think probably one of the most memorable, really. It was probably one of the first live TV games for the FA Cup, and we went away to West Ham and we was 2-0 down at half time, and we come back and ended up drawing 2-2, and we fuck knows how many we had there. We probably had up most of 5,000-6,000. Where the the West Ham ground, what they call their main stand behind their home goal, that used to be the away end, and we had the whole of that end. So like I say, it was probably that game there, and probably that game there, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I think I know it's like not pretty, do you know what I mean? It's an FA Cup game, and but it's just the fact of the experience and the sort of memories of celebrating on a terrace where you scored a goal and you end up 20 metres away from where you started once we'd scored, and do you know what I mean? You was lucky if you had both trainers on still, and once everybody settles down, everybody's looking for where their mates have ended up, and you're all scattered all over the place.
Oh fuck! It's like a series of the wonder-years, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
You know
I know exactly what you mean.
It's like jumping, like these days, in the ground, you're jumping up and down on the spot. Do you know what I mean? It's just a totally different atmosphere. So just for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Move on.
Raj, have you got a goal?
Yeah, I mean, most recently, I would say the one that sticks in my mind is Arshavin's goal against Barcelona about 3 years ago.
Cheeky.
4 years ago, which was very nice indeed. And like Gav said, I was jumping up and down for that one. But the one goal, and I know Mickey Thomas is one that'll always stay with me. And I've said this before, I think, in a podcast a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But Brian Talbot in the 1980 semi-final, I was under massive peer pressure at school, I remember, and they were giving me a lot of shit because we won 3 replays for that semi-final. So when he scored, and I was listening to it on the radio, and I was just jumping up and down and screaming and shouting and all sorts. So that will always stay with me.
Gav, that FA Cup game you were on about, was it 2-2 at West Ham and Paul Merson scored 2?
I think it may have.
That'd have been in 1989.
And we lost the replay 1-0 Leroy Rossini.
Yeah, so that was 2017 at West Ham. I remember that game.
It was just, like I say, I mean, I think that was. It wasn't even. I think that was.
It was Leroy Rossini scored the goal for West Ham at Highbury, 44,000.
Yeah.
You cheeky monkey, you.
That replay rates as one of the worst games I've ever been to. That's up there with that game in '91 that we don't talk
Didn't
about.
Liam Brady have one of the best games ever for West Ham at that point? I don't know. I've only just looking
Liam
at.
Brady, it was weird because
They had Paul Ince in midfield as well, and Julian Dix.
Liam Brady kicked something, really fucking laid into somebody at the game at Upton Park.
Yeah.
And he was starting to get booed by the Arsenal support.
Ooh,
And
heresy.
when it comes, yeah, I know exactly. But when it comes to the return game, those that were there at West Ham were still booing Brady, and everybody else was cheering him like he was some kind of hero. And we're thinking, well, he kicked fucking Merson last week. Blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? It kind of sort of split the support really on Brady back then. So, but yeah, no, like I say, it was just one of them games really, like the 2-2, and it was, can you hear us on the box? Can you hear us on the box? Tottenham, shit, can you hear us on the box? Do you know what I mean? Because like I say,
before the days where they'd mute it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, back then, I mean, there weren't live games every weekend. Do you know what I mean?
You get one or two a season if you were lucky.
It was sort of a rarity. Do you know what I mean? And they just sort of started, doing live FA Cup games, which was really just sort of like one game each round was live.
Do you remember when they showed a friendly against Independiente live at about 3 o'clock in the morning? Oh, that was brilliant. Anyway, I'll move on. Gimli and Jace, did you answer this question? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, because I can't remember where we are. Right, go on in, Jace, Facebook question.
Oh, well, sorry, I've got lost there. Okay.
Lost in memories.
Yeah. Linus Nielsen, do you believe that having Ramsey and Wilshere in the deeper, more defensive midfield roles is a possibility? Could it work?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
There you go. That's that done.
Me too.
Right, this is an interesting.
You three are wrong. Right, move on.
This is a good one from April 2004.
Do you think we'll score more?
Do you think we should have goalkeepers? Anyway, he says, Henry, he's been a bit cheeky here. This was 3 tweets all in one. He actually had 2 questions, I think. He says, Henry's contract runs out at the end of this, he says money, I think it means month, runs out at the end of this month, and it's been said by his club he's very unlikely he'll renew. Should we bring him back on a free, like Chelsea have with Drogba, and let him play his last game for us instead of in the MLS? We lack the presence of someone like him, successful at the club, a winner, and sets him up for a future role off of the pitch. I would say yes, only because just having someone like him at the club, even if he doesn't play another game, just having him around, the enthusiasm he'll bring, just think what you could learn more off of him in an afternoon than you could off of the likes of Giroud in a lifetime. So for me, hell yes. Gav, what do you say?
I would say I never want to see him play for Arsenal again.
Fair enough. Any particular reason? Ruining the memories?
No. Like I say, again, we went through it earlier. Complete legend of a player, but he's he's past it. What they should do is offer Thierry Henry any money he wants, any conditions he wants, to spend half his week training with the first team, and the second and a half of the week entertaining corporate guests at the bowl.
Oh, well, imagine that.
And that's it. Do you know what I
I'd
mean?
even go.
Don't want to see him on the bench. Don't want to see him in the dressing room. Nothing like that. Don't want to see him on the pitch. Want to see him on the training ground, and want to see him, doing what that prick Gazidis can't do: smooth a few clients, get a few quid in, take the pressure off the paying public.
Raj, have you got some wise words on this?
No, I think Gav's right. I mean, he should be given some sort of ambassadorial role at the club. He shouldn't certainly not be playing his last game at the club. He's played his last game as far as I'm concerned. But it'll be great to have him at the club in some sort of role.
Gimli, have you got any wise words for FK, who's probably listening to this and touching himself inappropriately?
Just Carpenter out.
Jace?
Yeah, his time is done as a player for the Arsenal. But as Gav said, in and around the club, fantastic.
Okay, got another question from Facebook, and then I'll do one more from Twitter, and then we're all done on questions.
Yeah, I have. Sorry, I've got to go back to it. I do apologise. Hoppy Hopkins. No, I'm not asking that one. Sorry, Hopkins.
That's a silly name as well. Come on.
It is.
Just ask it.
We're not in a Western, are we?
Jace, while you're thinking of the question, I've got one specifically for you, specifically for you from Pete Gooner, who is at the PA Gooner, to Jason. What do you think of Galatasaray fans?
Cunt.
There you go. Right. So, have you got a Facebook question?
Yeah. From Loyal Gooner, would any of you guys start with a speeder on Sunday ahead of Chesney?
Oh God, it's a tough one, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
Probably best you don't, because he hasn't had the time to gel with the back four. And although Chesney can be rash, at least they work as a unit together, and they all speak the same language. So, and tactical language, actually speak English together, and they're used to working together. So no, I wouldn't risk it.
Kim?
So Chesney must play.
Raj?
No, he must play. Yeah. Ospina's not ready yet.
Gav?
Yeah, no, it's Chesney must play.
I agree with the boys. Yeah.
Okay, and the final one from Twitter is from someone I think we all know, Nick Gin, who is at NICKGYNNE. This is quite a good question, so I thought I'd save it to last. He actually asked two good questions. Do you think first-team players are as disgruntled as some of the fans about Wenger's inability to bring in the players we clearly need to strengthen and help us turn us into true contenders and make them true contenders? I personally think, yeah, it's got to be winding you up when some of those players have been brought to the club like Ozil, probably on a promise that, don't worry, we'll be surrounding you with world-class players. And he does. He just buys 14 right wingers. Gim?
I think equally from the position of Jack Wilshere, when you're growing up in a team and you're not really seeing, any forward movement in the signing of players. We go into transfer windows knowing what we need, and we come out of transfer windows still not buying the players that we need. So of course, as a player, when you want to be competitive and win as many things as possible, of course it's frustrating.
Raj?
He's just put "not me, please" in the.
Oh, just seen that flashing. All right, Jace.
He's choking.
I couldn't care less. No. Bear with me a second. If players are unhappy, why don't they do it in the park?
Typical AKB answer.
No. Let's get something straight, boys. Okay, these players have been bought to the club for a reason. They're going to deliver. Okay, if they're disgruntled, they need to talk to Arsene Wenger about it. This is all us. Shooting the breeze on here. I'd hope they're concentrating on their football and not sticking their heads up their arses.
Well, there you go. So, finally, to answer this one, Gav, and then you moistly hand it back to Gimli.
It's just one of them questions, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? No, I mean, there seems like there's a togetherness with the current squad that perhaps hasn't been seen before. There's a lot of English and the Welsh boy that all seem to be very matey and chummy, and then you've got the Germans that seem to get on quite well. So I don't think there's too much of a looking around, I'm better than him scenario going on. Like I say, especially once, I'm just trying to be optimistic on last night's performance. Everybody played for each other, everybody worked well. it's not like the situation that we've got where someone's scared to pass to somebody because they think they're going to fuck it up, like obviously what happened with Iboe and Javinho and what they do when Diaby's on the pitch. But so, do you know what I mean?
That's harsh.
And Bentner to a degree as well. I mean, like I said, there's nothing worse than when you go out and you see a team and, you know, somebody's free and they look up and they think, I don't trust the pass to him. I don't think there is that. I think they all see each other as pretty much equals, and there is, you know, in some positions, quite heavy competition for places. And then Wenger will just play somebody out of position there anyway, just to fuck them all up. Anyway, I've been told to hand this nice and smoothly back to Gimli, so there you go.
Thank you very much, Gav. We'll start to finish this off then with some predictions for Chelsea away on Sunday. And Danny.
0-0.
Okay. Raj?
2-0 to them.
And your first scorer?
Knows.
Say Cesc.
Okay.
Cesc,
Gav?
yeah, Cesc twice for FK.
Oh, Jesus.
Am I the this week's guest
Yeah, I presume
for-
you would be.
for the your prediction league?
Yeah.
Yes, you can be on the listener one. Yeah, Gav can be in charge of them.
Oh, quality. All right.
You did have your own team, but you finished 4th last season, so you were sacked.
He's going
From
10.
predicting.
He's
They
going
can-
10-1
So I should
DRB
be.
hat-trick.
So I should be, mate.
You-
You should be sacked if you finish fourth.
You were fitted up for that, if people remember listening to the last podcast of the last season. I think Steve tucked you up a treat. We went halfway through it. Let's all change our predictions. The Gav finishes 4th.
That's why I don't listen to you lot when I'm not on it.
I don't listen when I'm on.
I'm joking. I'm joking. You actually stole my thunder there, Dan, because I was going to actually predict 0-0 as well, to be honest with you.
All right, you can pick first goal scorer then.
Okay, 0-0. First goal scorer will be... I'll go for a good old-fashioned then. 1-0 to the Arsenal. And Sanchez.
Yes, I'm definitely getting my points for the from the listeners this week. I'm going 3-1 Fabregas.
3-1 to who?
Oh, Chelsea.
There you go. I think Wenger's learnt his lesson and we'll go there and we will play 9 central defenders.
Oh,
I think he's
Jesus
learned absolutely
Christ.
fuck all. Jason?
Look, it's only
tell you.
been 10 years. He's got to beat Mourinho once.
2-1 to the Arsenal.
Go on, get in, Jace. Get in.
In delusion.
Well,
Shut
bet.
up.
Well, you're going to pick Ramsey first goal scorer. You're so deluded. Sorry. Oh God, I'm gonna pay for that later. I'm sorry, Jace.
You are talking through your arse, Danny. And there's a lot of it to talk through.
Well, when you and Chris come up to stay at mine for the weekend, you can get me back. You can shit in my coffee or something.
You know, you've got him sleeping in a tent in your back garden.
Oh, no, that was you have to sleep in a tent. These two can share the sofa. Hey.
I'm not going anywhere near Chris. You know, he'll expect to get humped by me.
Especially most of the teams he plays every week.
Oh,
He's been scored on more times than Madonna. Oh, it's unbelievable.
just answer the fucking question.
I said 2-1 the Arsenal.
Did you?
Okay, right. Shout outs then this week. My shout out goes out to @Barca Matchworn. Really, really lovely guy.
Very good.
Who loves Arsenal. Also loves having a natter about Arsenal.
Yes.
So give him a follow. Danny?
First of all, we have to remember we did that bloke who Stuart Taylor's book on Paul Vasson, The Ballad of Paul Vasson, still available on Amazon. Our friend Les, Plastic Spam, has just told me that it's actually on the William Hill shortlist for Book of the Year award. So, very, very good. If you haven't already got it, go out and buy it. Or maybe ask Santa to leave it in a sock for you if you've been a good boy or girl. But my shout goes out to Simply, Arsene, Simply Arson, because I asked the question. I've had 2 cats named after Arsenal players. What were they? And he correctly, after much help, decided that it was Bergkamp and Merce, but Merce died.
But not one of Jason's socks, though, because you wouldn't be able to read it on Christmas morning because the pages would be stuck together.
They'd
Raj?
be all crispy.
Have you noticed that Jason sounds like Gladys Pugh from Heidi High? Honestly,
Well,
it just occurred to me. But anyway,
my old man knew her.
I've got 2.
Oh, at least you're getting involved. We should be grateful at something.
Yeah. Well, the first one's to my cyber mistress, Gooner Girl Kate. I don't want to be too condescending to her about that, or she'll call me a twat or a knobber or something like that. I don't know. But
Shall I put a sound effect in there?
and the second one is to guys. He's always good on Twitter. He always responds to some of the things I say. So it's at BlairStrip1. His name's Gov, and he's currently listening to the Guardian Football Weekly podcast, waiting for our one to go live.
And it's a damn fine football podcast.
Yeah.
And Gav?
I've got 2, if that's okay.
God, he's milking it.
Jesus, man.
Finally turns up for a pod and then he's taken over. Fuck's sake.
He does 6 next week.
Oh, he won't be on next week. He titillated us with a little appearance and then fucks off and leaves us wanting more. Well, okay, Gav, we'll shut up now.
Okay. In the match programme against Tottenham, there was a little write-up done about my great-great-granddad, who was a World War One soldier. It was written by Mark at Royal Arsenal MRA in connection with Andy at Gooner_AK. These are 2 chaps who do quite a lot of writing for the Arsenal Matchday programme. Both very, very nice fellas.
Another book coming out soon.
Yeah, which I'm sure do very well as their 2 other ones did. But I'd just like to say thank you to Mark and Andy for sorting it out, really, because it was a little bit of investigation work with regards to dates of which various members of my family served in World War One. And it was just a complete honour, really. It's just a nice way to remember them, really. And
they have a website called thearsenalhistory.com, and today they have done a really interesting blog, The Magnificent Arsenal Cup, OPORTO 1948, which is about 7-foot tall trophy. But yeah, everyone should go and regularly follow those 2 and regularly go and check that site for telling history as it was, which is brilliant.
And Jason?
Yeah, regular listener to the
Ping
pod.
pong.
You talk, yeah. Hey, boys.
Campers.
Hello.
Howdy, hi. Hey, it's like hold you hold back.
Howdy ho.
It's Akib. And it's Akib's birthday on Saturday. So happy birthday, Akib. Top boy, give him a follow. He's at Akib, SAAQIB, alias ALYAS.
Is he the one in Southampton? Because there's a few of those whose names I can't pronounce.
Yeah, no, that's the Akib.
Is he?
Yeah, that's the Akib. Yeah, it's his birthday.
Happy birthday, young man. What is he? He's about 14, 15. He's quite young, though, isn't he?
He's a kid, yeah.
Yeah, he does a blog as well for someone. I remember looking at his bio not the other day.
So, all that's left is to thank my lovely panel this evening. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
It's been a pleasure.
And Jace.
That
was...
I'll tell you, you're going to pay for that, you little bitch.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sort yourself out, man. Heidi hi. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night, you beautiful bastards.
Nanu, cheeky monkeys. I got that out of anyone interrupting me. Bing bong.
I tell you what, Gladys Pooh.
Okay, well, you're like the second one for the hellos at the start.
Okay, I better swallow now then.
Hey.
Is that the first time you said that, right?
Have we got that on record for the Christmas special?
Has he ever been to Turkey?
Oh.